So today, she's talking about the phenomenal choice, abundance. So please give Anne a nice warm welcome.
So I have to tell you, I always pick one of the topics that's about that big. And then I research it and then it gets bigger. And then I start getting nervous because I think 45 minutes, how am I going to do that? And have it really make sense. Anyway, I had a lot of fun. I teach what I most need to learn.
Yes.
And abundance has always escaped out of the bag for me. And I think I'm a little closer to figuring out what it means. But it was a pretty big topic. And the other thing is that I come here from a very humble heart. Each one of us has just like a whole treasure trove of information for each other. And I know that. And I respect all that of the work that all of you are already doing. And I really do. And that helps me understand what oneness is. So, yeah. Alrighty. So I'd like to call in the Ascended Masters. I am a firm believer that there's the seen and the unseen world, and that we can bring them together. And I have a visualization of the whole thing being in a football stadium, and we're down there running around, doing our thing, getting in trouble, making trouble, and all the angels and saints are sitting in the bleachers, just waiting for you to say, I need help. And I'm sure we're most amusing. Because one of the places I'd like to start is that there's truth and then there's perception. And I'm sure you've all done this sometime in elementary school even. If you put your finger up right in front of your face and you shut one eye and then you shut the other eye, your finger moves, but it never went anyplace. That's what perception is. It's your way of looking at the world. The thing is that if we're all looking at the world from our own little journey, we're probably not going to agree very much. So I have chosen this occasion to make a declaration that I'm staying over on the truth side, and the whole perceptual world and all of its ins and outs and ups and downs, and I'm giving up. Mm-hmm. So this is going to be a really long journey. Because in order to do that, I'm going to have to practice. I'm going to have to recognize and work with and eliminate my triggers. And it was so funny this morning because I'm getting all holy while I'm getting ready to come over here, right? And I'm triggered. And I'm going, not now.
I'm in my holy mode.
That makes me even more humble, for sure. So, I'm very fond of several of the group up in the unseen world. I follow Saint Germain. I am definitely in great awareness of the Christ consciousness, and hopefully go from receiving it to sustaining it here in form. I always thought that you did all this hard work and then you went to heaven and then you got it. I was wrong. You can get it right here. Heaven is on earth. It's just like the sun. When the sun is behind a cloud, you can say there's no sun. When the mountains are behind the cloud, you say there's no mountains. They're there. It's the clouds that you're looking at right now. So the very first thing I want to do, I want you to just take a minute to feel the energy in this room. And then I would like you to turn to whoever's next to you, and I'm going to give you each 2 minutes to tell the other person what you're grateful for.
Now?
Go. Are you? Does everybody have a partner? You want to come over here and talk to me?
Prosperity, family, music, music in my life. Years to come. Yeah, seeing family before and seeing family after in different spots.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that. So it's been messing up as far
So if you haven't switched to the other part, that's what he's Okay, everybody. Feel the energy in the room now. That's like letting the fizz out of the bottle.
I need another 2 hours, please.
That's right. Yeah. Well, I'm certainly not suggesting that you start being grateful. When I was raising my 2 sons, the child support was spotty. I had a good job, but a lot going on, and there were times when I didn't have everything that I needed. I was making choices between gas and groceries. And I've been in the metaphysical thing for a long time, so I turned to Louise Hay, who offered me a suggestion of taking a box of thank you notes and writing every single one of them until I was done with the box and mailing them to everyone. She was proposing that if I got really, really grateful, the abundance would flow in. And I'm not kidding you. I got a check for $5,000 from an insurance rebate that I had no idea was coming.
Wow.
The day that I had so little groceries that I was counting the pieces of bread to see if I could make sandwiches to the end of the week, I sat down and I said, Lord, you know that this isn't like some kind of fancy request here. I got home that night and my friend had gone shopping in a grocery store that did 2 for 1. She brought all the ones in grocery bags over to my house. And when I got home, the whole kitchen counter was lined with groceries. And I tell you, that just made me cry. It also, every time things like that happen, will strengthen your resolve that the source will take care of you. So 2 more stories. I had a collision and the car was totaled right after I had divorced. My credit was wrecked. I had no money. I had to have a car. I was able to borrow one for a short period of time. And so again, I sat down at the kitchen table and I said, my car is out there. What I need to do is get dressed, put my shoes on, and go find it. So I had planned to drive the streets, go to the dealers. I was going to spend the whole day doing this. And I stopped at a friend's house, and she had a friend there who said, oh, I work for a credit union, and we just repossessed a Thunderbird. Why don't you come down and look at it? So that was the first place I stopped, it's in the parking lot. I went and looked at it. I said, this is my car. Now, the real test. I go into the loan officer and say to him, I just got divorced, my credit is wrecked, how can we do this? He said, but you changed your name. I said, yes. We'll pull your credit up under your name instead of your social security number. And it will be 5 stars. And I thought, what? And I walked out with the keys. So more recently, I'm not quite as challenged as I was then. But I recently had a furnace man come and report that he thought I needed a new water heater for $4,450. Whoa! So I'm thinking, well, I can stop eating out. I can stop
Breathing.
How am I going to do this? And so I called my son. He said, that's way too high. Josh said he was going to look into it. But in the meantime, a very dear friend said, I have lots of money. I'll loan it to you. No interest. I know you'll pay it back. That was the nugget. Source telling me you are always covered with your dear, sweet community who's more than happy to help. You just had to say it out loud. So those are some of my abundance stories. Part of how I am proceeding from my greatest desire to come into complete alignment with Source, because I think it's bigger than that. I think that by the power of thought, I can bring to myself, and do bring to myself, everything in my world. Now, there's pluses and minuses to that. Because when I go off on my little dark, narrow trail, where nothing's working, nobody cares, that still happens in here every once in a while. now I know what that voice is, and I say, stop. Obviously, this is not truth. This is clouds over the mountains. I know the mountains are there. One of my traits, my personality traits that helps me a great deal is that I'm very, very persistent. Some people call it stubborn, but that's only when I'm over on the wrong side. When I'm being persistent, that means I'm gonna do it, and if it didn't work out, I'm gonna do it again and again and again until my arrow goes straight to the center of the target. And even when I wrote that, I thought, oh, this is gonna be long. This is gonna be a long time. But I'm taking 100% responsibility for everything in my life. Everything that I see, knowing that I still look through perception more frequently than I flip over into a larger view, a vision kind of space. So, again, I bring up the triggers because that's part of my little warning. I view the ego as like a fire alarm. The ego goes off when I'm going off into the blaze and says, come back. So that's not negative. It's just that